Hello there. Welcome to, I know you were going to do that, Nick. Welcome to Comics League Live, Snyder Sundays. Well, it's normally Saturdays, but we're doing Sunday now because I had stuff going on Saturday. But we're doing Snyder Sundays, a Green Lantern themed episode. And so I'm here with Nick. What's up, Nick?
Not much. How dare you have a social life?
And what's up, Jarrett? So today, like I said, we're talking about Green Lantern and like all of his different like portrayals in media, because for those who don't know, the Green Lantern world plays a significant part in the SnyderVerse. So I just figured, let me give people an introduction to like the character and the lore and everything. We did an Under Two Capes episode, which did pretty well. So I want to do a little more of a live stream so we can interact with you guys. So Nick, Green Lantern.
Can you please make the suit? Can you please make sure the suit isn't green or animated?
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Again, Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds. But so I'm going to start off. We have some SnyderVerse news, by the way. So, and no problem, Medina. We're glad we're here. So SnyderVerse news.
Oh, so a fellow Wowhead, Alliance or Horde. Remember, your answer will determine what I think of you.
Yeah, exactly. So for those of you that don't know, there was something happened on HBO Max.
Ooh.
Which would indicate, I know it seems like a minor thing, but it seems like something that would lead to us thinking, is something happening? And I'm going to bring up the clip real quick. I'm going to bring up the picture real quick. Hang on. All right, I'm going to bring it up because, so you know how in HBO Max you have these little character icons that you can like equip for your account? Well, they have the ones from Zack Snyder's Justice League. So immediately my thought is, wait, I have to just move Discord out of the way. So immediately I'm like, what?
Okay, question. Which one are you picking?
I picked Henry Cavill Superman. What do you think I picked?
My man.
So what they did, they even have Ray Fisher Cyborg here. That should tell you a lot about Kurt Warner Brothers. Now you may be wondering, Jared, but that's kind of random. They do that for all the movies. Well, here's the thing. This is the first time that the SnyderVerse has been represented in this since the movie came out 2 years ago. Well, 1 year ago.
I think if I was gonna pick one, I might pick Crypto the super dog just because just to have my profile pick be a doggy.
Of course you would. I could see you picking Momoa over here.
Well, honestly, looking at this, can you pull it back up, please?
Oh, okay. Hang on. And by Medina says specifically, they only have SnyderVerse icons for live action. Yeah, that's the key thing. There's no other for the Justice League. There's no other portrayals. Not even the Tyler Hoechlin Superman.
Wow. So for me, my options would be DCAU Batman.
Of course.
Dick Grayson from Titans because I like that. Let's see here.
Mine would be either the Superman, Deathstroke, Batfleck, or Red Hood.
Wait, where's Deathstroke?
Deathstroke is right here.
Oh, okay.
That's him from Titans.
For some reason I thought that was Black Panther. I don't know why.
But this is DC!
I know, but it looks like Black Panther a little bit, so I got stupid.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it would either be Crypto or DCAU Batman. Maybe Robin.
Had to. So yeah, again, that may seem like a minor thing, or like people like, so they do that for all the movies. But here's the thing. Here, again, I want to say this again because it's a very important point to emphasize. So yes, normally they do that whenever a new thing comes out. This movie came out a year ago, and just now they put those in.
That's rather telling, honestly.
It's almost like Zaslav is going with those versions of the characters for the live action movies.
Da, da, da.
It's almost like we were right.
It's almost like the SnyderVerse is getting restored.
Hell yeah. So on that note, let's transition to the next topic of our stream today. Oh, by the way, we have another chat. Victory draws near. Hell yeah.
Woo!
So, Green Lantern the movies. Actually, do you want to do his role in the Snyderverse first, or you want to just do general Green movies?
I thought we could kind of do a quick kind of little thing about Screecher, then go into it.
Oh yeah. So I'll share the thing in a second, but so Nick, do you want to tell us a little bit about Screecher?
Yeah, so we'll go into more detail towards the end of the show before, like, we'll kind of talk about before we open it up to people. But I'm doing a comic called Screecher, which is a very heavily inspired by the 90s and early 2000s era of Batman. So if you're into that kind of stuff, if you like Batman the Animated Series, if you're a fan of the comics from that time, you know, you like Justice League Unlimited, you are more than likely probably going to like Screecher. It's a really great story. I'm really excited for it. And I'm doing signups right now, and then Jared should have the link, kind of pull a link up any moment, and then we'll probably maybe even view the trailer towards the end of the show. But I just wanted to mention it, and then Jared could share the link. I'm one person away from getting 55 signups. Trying to get as many people as possible before I launch on October 7th. We'll go into more detail, towards the end of the show.
So, and then I'm going to drop the link to it already in the chat now, and then I'll do it again at the end of the stream. So, yep. And then Medina says, first rule on Green Lantern: the Guardians of the Universe suck. You know what? Yeah, we will start on that because they absolutely suck. Because here's my problem with the Guardians. They keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. Case in point, and for those of you that watched our Under Two Capes episode, you'll know this. When I talked about the Alpha Lanterns, here's the thing about it. So here's a timeline. The Guardians established the Manhunters, which were robots that were supposed to police the sector. That goes horribly wrong, because it always does. And then they decide later, okay, let's create more Manhunters, basically, later on. What?
You know what the problem is?
What?
You didn't have enough Manhunters.
Yeah, I know. And they keep doing things that pushes people. I know very little about Green Lanterns. Even I know these people are stupid. Oh, yeah. You can have the most cursory view of Green Lantern and know that these people suck.
It's almost like it's an allegory for complicated bureaucracy.
Yeah,
it's almost like this is a cop show where the cops know what they're doing, but the brass up top have no clue what they're doing, but act like they are, and they tell you. So it's almost like it's a good allegory.
Yeah, exactly. So let me start saying this. Here's another example when they were stupid. So the Guardians purged themselves of all emotion because they saw emotion was going to get in the way of being enforcers of the law. So okay, that's all well and good. So then this prophecy of Blackest Night starts coming up, which is like there's going to be a war of light. All these different lantern corps are going to rise up and then start a war again. Start a civil war. It's basically a cop show in space. Yeah, pretty much.
Bad boys.
What you gonna do when the
green light shines on you?
That's good. So anyway, where was it? Oh yeah. So it's gonna be a war of light. And then, but the Guardians want to put their head in the sand that Blackest Night is not going to happen, so they literally erase it from their history books. What? And then guess what? When it shows up, because I'm reading Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run right now, and I'm at Blackest Night. When it shows up, they're like, "How could we have seen this coming?"
You did.
I'm like,
see it.
Really?
Oh no! Wait! I have to do this. You did not see that coming?
Yeah, exactly. If only I need that clip of Quicksilver because that's so yeah. And Medina was the thing on Miami Vice, but same concept. So yeah. That's basically how much of how the Guardians are freaking morons. But let's talk about the cool Green Lanterns. So most of us, when we think of Green Lantern, we'll think of two people: Hal Jordan and John Stewart. Hal Jordan, if you really read the comics, maybe Kyle Rayner if you were around that era. But Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, I think, are the most well known. Jon Stewart because of the animated cartoon.
You can't diss my boy Guy Gardner.
Well, I'm saying the general populace that maybe doesn't read comics, because I know Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner's awesome.
You can't discount DC's bad boy.
Yeah, exactly. He is DC's bad boy. But there was another Lantern, which is my tied with number one.
Are you saying we're cruising on into this topic?
Oh yeah, we definitely are. So it would be Jessica Cruz Green Lantern.
Well, you're really putting her into the limelight.
Exactly. So if you don't read the Green Lantern comics, you would know about Jessica Cruz if you watch like Justice League versus the Fatal Five, which is basically
a good movie, by the way.
A really good movie, by the way. As much as I have problems with the Timverse, that's just I think it's actually really good. But so in that movie, the Fatal Five invade, and then the Green Lantern of Earth is Jessica Cruz. And I'd be wondering, what's her origin? So she was on a hunting trip with some friends, and they stumbled upon these mobsters burying a body. The mobsters killed Jessica Cruz's friends, and she runs away and becomes agoraphobic. Now, go to the New 52, essentially. Yeah, kind of. It's kind of like Lethal Weapon, kind of, when you think about it. And actually, I heard somewhere that Lethal Weapon is the inspiration for the upcoming Green Lantern HBO Max series. So, really done on that. Really cool on that.
So they're going to have a long-haired Hal Jordan?
Maybe. Yeah.
Are they going to give him a perm?
Yeah. So anyway, no.
I'm sorry, I'm having way too much fun today.
If we couldn't have a Superman mullet in the Snyder cut, they're not giving him a perm. So anyway.
Oh my god, now I'm imagining Henry Cavill with like long hair and a perm, and I'm a happy boy.
I just want Henry Cavill with long hair and a beard, and then black suit Superman. Then we're good to go. But anyway, so
hey, have you been tapping into my fantasies again?
No. So anyway, God no. So anyway, so she becomes agoraphobic, right? And then there was a storyline in DC called Forever Evil, where the crime syndicate of Earth 3 invade. The crime syndicate are basically the evil versions of the Justice League. One of them is Harold Jordan Power Ring. His ring is actually a sentient creature that controls you and only goes to the most afraid people. So anyway, Sinestro kills Power Ring, and then his ring goes to Jessica Cruz. And eventually she struggles to get control of the ring. She gets help from Hal Jordan and Barry Allen, as a matter of fact, and joins the Justice League. Then during Darkseid War, she sacrifices her life to save Barry, and then she becomes a Green Lantern. Now, the thing about her is that she's constantly trying to overcome the fear of, like, being agoraphobic, but being a Green Lantern. Because as we all know, overcoming fear is in the job description, literally. And so she was in that movie, and that showed her origin actually really well, and the struggle of her being afraid really well, I think.
It's almost like she's a well-developed character with relatable struggles, and she actually has to work hard to overcome her character flaws. I think it's safe to say she's an anti-Mary Sue.
Oh, yeah. She's not Captain Marvel by any means. If anything, she's like Wonder Woman in terms of anti-Mary Sue. And then also, what's interesting is that, so going on to our next thing, there was a Green Lantern animated series, which, by the way, Jarrett read my mind. I think Green Lantern animated series was good for what it was that inspired the movie. The Green Lantern animated series, Nick, if you haven't seen it, is basically Clone Wars, but for Green Lantern.
I've seen some of the animated movies, like I know Justice League New Frontier
had it. That was basically the Hal Jordan origin.
Green Lantern First Flight.
That was great. Have you seen Emerald Knights?
Oh yeah, the short story one. That was pretty good.
That was really good. Where Mogo shows up and they push Krona into the sun. I'm like, yes! A Green Lantern planet. But anyway, so the Green Lantern animated series, my only problem with that, and I get why they did it because it's a kid's show, but they changed the Red Lantern oath because instead of saying ripped from a corpse of freshly dead, they did something really weenie. So I was a little PO'd about that, but I get it. You can't have a kid's show where people are like, I'm ripping blood from a corpse.
Speaking of Red Lanterns, we got to give a shout out to my favorite kitty.
Oh yeah,
Dexter.
Dexter is a cat. That's a Red Lantern.
That coughs up acidic hairballs. What is not to love? I'm
In fact,
sorry.
There was a part.
Also, Atrocitus is actually like really, really tender with
it's like Dr. Evil.
And like Dexter is like loyal to Atrocitus, and like Atrocitus actually treats Dexter really well. It's like, how can something so evil be so wholesome?
There was this part in Rage of the Red Lanterns, which is the origin, which is where the other Lantern Corps are aware of the Red Lanterns. This Yellow Lantern's in the middle of a battle, and all of a sudden Dexter shows up right next to him. He goes, "Who the hell are you?" And then Dexter just throws up acidic blood on him.
A very Dexter thing.
Oh, and Mendina actually has a really good point, by the way, going off of what you said, Nick. He said, so Jessica Cruz is the strong female character that Disney writers are too bad to pull off. Exactly.
Let me add to what Dennis just said. Jessica Cruz is the strong female, take no prisoners, don't need no man badass that Disney wishes they could write.
Yeah, I know. If Captain Marvel were written like Jessica Cruz is, guess what? She'd be a fantastic character.
Well, she is, but it's often an animated series.
Well, and here's the thing. You know why Jessica Cruz is a fantastic character and well written? You know who created her? Jeff Johns and Ethan Van Sciver. It's almost like these guys know what they're doing. So
can you? I can't wait for Jessica Cruz to show up on DC, and then Ethan Van Sciver gets like a big fat check.
She gets all the royalties.
Imagine if like they do a series, like a whole like he's like a big part of the TV series, and like
she is. She's in the TV series.
So EVS is gonna like, and
her and Baz.
They're gonna celebrate celebrate Jessica Cruz, and Ethan's like, celebrate all you want. I just bought a Ferrari.
In fact, Nick, the Lanterns who are going to be in the show, I believe, are Alan Scott, Guy Gardner, Cruz, and Baz. So I'm like, the best Lanterns. And apparently, I think Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart are going to show up at some point.
Well, they do have a live action Jon Stewart cast, which that guy looks so much like the part.
You mean the one that was supposed to be in the Snyder cut?
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, the VFX on that suit looked incredible. I'm just going to say that right now. And I'm like, you can't hire Zack Snyder to do this VFX. He knows how to. If he can make Green Lantern look good, this dude is an artist.
Well, to be fair, he himself didn't do the VFX, but he's a director that understands visual effects, because this is really the thing that not a lot of people understand. The director is the one who, like, a director who understands visual effects can really help bring out really good VFX because they know how to shoot the movie in a way that really brings it out. Exactly,
and that's what Snyder does. And even the Snyder haters will. I've had conversations with people that aren't big fans of his DC films, but they do admit that his movies always look good in terms of VFX because he knows how to shoot it. So it's a lot. He knows where to like put the lighting, so it's easier to make the VFX look good. And Medina has a good point. Jeff Johns is actually weird in that he writes great comics but makes terrible movies. Wonder Woman 1984. He was a co-writer on that movie. I mean, let me put it this way. Stargirl's good, so he knows how to write something that's not comics, so I'll give him that. But
I think the thing with Stargirl was he didn't have as much input as before. It's just more he was limited to what he does best, which is write good stories.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why when people say, like, who do you want to put in charge of DC on like the Council of DC, I feel like he can't be the one in charge, but in terms of making sure these characters are properly represented, they may have to actually have him in some type of role on that council.
Hey, quick tangent. Let's, if we were to have a 5-person council, well, actually 4, because Zack Snyder is a free space.
Yeah,
we're both gonna say Zack Snyder anyway, so let's say 4.
Yeah.
4-person people to be on the council. Zack Snyder is a given.
Chris Nolan is one. I would definitely appoint Chris Nolan.
I wouldn't mind Jeff Johns on the council.
Yeah, me too. He can't have like a role over everyone. It's just what he's in charge of is like basically just making sure that all essentially these characters are properly represented. That's the problem with like the early Hamada-verse is that they gave him too much control.
I'd say Jeff Loeb because he's not okay. So Jeff Loeb on his own is not the best. Like he ran kind of the Marvel Netflix stuff, which was varying. Like he can do good stuff, but I think
he was hit and miss. His comics are hit and miss too, though.
Well, he also did write Long Halloween and Dark Victory.
That's true. I have one more. Ethan Van Sciver. Can you imagine if Ethan Van Sciver is now in charge, one of the people in charge of DC? He probably wouldn't do it, but that would be my choice just to piss everyone off.
Actually, no. The person I put on the panel would be Todd McFarlane.
Oh, yes. Oh, hell yes.
Because he might not have enough experience on the movie side, but he knows the business, he knows comics, and he knows like the marketability, you know. Like if you want a liaison between comics, movies, and like the toys, Todd McFarlane is literally is the most qualified person for that kind of role.
The only reason Todd McFarlane has the only time Todd McFarlane has pissed me off and still continues to piss me off is that there's no Jessica Cruz McFarlane figure yet.
Oh, yeah.
Once that comes out, I'm buying that immediately. I'm pre-ordering it as soon as it comes out. But anyway, back to Green Lantern the movies. So, yeah. So, and by the way, that would be our alliance. And by the way, Chad, who would you put in your DC council? So, now I recently watched, as a matter of fact, last night in preparation for the stream, I watched Green Lantern: Beware My Power, which is
really
a Jon Stewart movie.
Oh,
have you seen it? And if not, do you mind if I spoil it?
I don't mind if you spoil it. Yeah, it's just right now my battery's running on my Bluetooth, so I'm trying to like find the. Go ahead.
All right, so basically, it's adapting Emerald Twilight.
Okay.
Yeah, Hal Jordan turns evil. It's really cool. And what's up, Andre of the Nakatina Show? What's up? If you want a link, just let me know and I'll send you a link. But anyway, so in the movie, it's basically like Hal Jordan's ring shows up on Earth and goes to Stewart, and Stewart's like, "What the hell?" And even the League is like, "What? So Hal's dead. We have to go investigate this." So Jon Stewart and Green Arrow take a javelin into space. They run into Hawkgirl, who is portrayed amazingly, and they find out the core is destroyed. And essentially, they sort of seed this throughout the entire movie, where it turns out Hal Jordan was infected by Parallax, by Sinestro, and then basically Emerald Twilighted it.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, dude, as soon as I figured this out, it is so freaking dope. And what's up, Zebrafelt? Yeah, it was such a good movie. I tell you, these new DC animated movies are actually like really high quality, if I can say that. So that's basically my review of Beware My Power. By the way, it was kind of funny. Nolan North voices Hal Jordan, and for those of you that don't know, I happen to have met Nolan North. So immediately I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Now whenever I see him, because he's in practically every animated show ever, I'm like, yes! And by the way,
for longest time, David Boreanaz was like my pick to play Hal Jordan. He actually got to voice him in Justice League New Frontier, that's
who voices him in New Frontier. Wow. All right, so Medina has Jeff Johns as a creative consultant. Okay,
you could say he has quite the angelic voice.
Yeah, exactly. And then Jay Oliva as the moderator. I love that guy. He's behind a lot of the animated movies. Zach as the guy behind the main arc. Okay. Jonathan Nolan and he means I think he means whatever. So Jonathan Nolan and David S. Goyer as writing consultants.
I wouldn't put Jonathan Nolan on there because he's one of those people who good ideas, terrible execution. Look at Westworld.
True.
He's one of those people where it starts off really good. Westworld season 1 is still one of the best. It is literally some of the best television ever in the history of the world.
Yeah.
But like. Season 2 was okay, and then 3 and 4 they went out of the park, which is like so stupid. You know,
exactly.
It's like it turned it from really cool, interesting show to generic cyberpunk, and so I don't really have much respect for Jonathan Nolan. So every time someone brings him up, I'm like, maybe not.
And Medina then amended his statement and said, okay, so just Goyer. And I'm fine with that because as our Man of Steel stream said, we're big fans of Man of Steel. And by the way, we have a third guy, Medina, Chris Nolan. If he would do it, let me put it this way, assuming these guys would do it.
The only other person that I would maybe put on this panel would be Jim Lee.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you know what? Jim Lee has to be involved somehow because he's like the DC guy. By the way, for those of you, I just want to keep refreshing this point for those of you that just came in. Now we can use the SnyderVerse characters as our profiles in HBO Max, which is big because this movie came out a year ago and we're just now getting them after Zaslav takes over. So
it's almost like something is happening.
It's almost like something is being restored. So, once again, I just think Nolan wants to move on from. Yeah, so I'm saying that in a perfect world where who we ask would show up, in other words, would say yes, these are the people we would want.
My retort to that is, I think the failure of Tenet, which was kind of like Zach says, like Christopher Nolan's first failure. I think that may have humbled him, but I really feel like it's probably his next movie because, Tenet, you could it came out right as the pandemic happened, so that's why. So he kind of has that hand wavy kind of thing. It's really the next movie that's really going to determine where he's going to go in Hollywood. If his next movie bombs, then that is the end of the Christopher Nolan movie, and he's just going to do movies for other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if the
which I will say, Tenet was really good. It was trippy, but it was really good.
Well, it's a Christopher Nolan movie. What do you expect?
Of course, it's gonna be trippy. It's gonna be. You're gonna have to pound YouTube hard in order to all those explain videos to figure it out.
Hey, question: have you ever seen The Prestige?
No.
Okay, you need to see The Prestige because it's a film by Christopher Nolan about magicians, and it had David Bowie as Nikola Tesla.
Oh, really?
And the two magicians are Christian Bale as one magician, his assistant is Michael Caine.
I did see this movie years ago.
The other magician is Hugh Jackman. They have the sexy assistant played by Scarlett Johansson.
God.
This movie is so jam-packed with really good stars in it. It's so crazy. And it's one of those films that you got to rewatch it because there's so many layers to this movie. Mm-hmm. You know, for example, when the wife says, "Oh, today you're like my husband," she's calling out which of the twins. Which of the, kind of thing. It's such a good movie. It's such a good movie.
It is. And again, that's why I think Chris Nolan would be a good choice. So anyway, back to this. My first back to Green Lantern. So I'm trying to keep us on track because of the.
I'm sorry, but any chance I get to talk about The Prestige, I have to mention.
And now, my first exposure to John Stewart, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, that was from this show, I thought he was the only Green Lantern. So when I read the comics and I see Hal Jordan, I'm like, who the hell are you?
Okay, I gotta call out one of my favorite John Stewart moments from that is when they go to the Batman Beyond universe and they say, and someone says, wait, Batman and Batman playing both good cop and bad cop, and John Stewart just looks at his son and says, it's all relative.
Yeah, exactly.
You just realize he's talking to his future son that he hasn't conceived yet.
Yeah. My favorite scene in that show of John Stewart is when the Manhunters infect the central power battery and Green Lantern doesn't know if he has the power for the ring. It's been drained. So he just walks up and belts out that lantern oath and destroys the Manhunters. And I'm like, oh, hell yes. It's John Stewart belting out that lantern oath, man. And we all know that Green Lantern oath is freaking iconic.
Also, what I love about John Stewart is he doesn't do dual identities. He just goes full-time as a Green Lantern. And
he doesn't wear a mask.
Yeah, and he doesn't have, he doesn't do anything on the side. He is a Green Lantern. And I really like that because they were kind of doing what the MCU was doing years beforehand. Because, how the MCU doesn't really mess around with secret identities.
Yeah.
Versus, John Stewart was hitting upon all those story tropes 5 or so years before Marvel was.
Mm-hmm. And what's cool about John Stewart in the comics, and this directly relates to SnyderVerse because he's the Green Lantern in the Snyder Cut. He through his own like hubris. And what's up, Tevia? What's up? And by the way, drop in the comments, everyone. Who's your favorite lantern? It doesn't have to be Green Lantern. It can be like other cores are included. But anyway.
So yes, Dexter is an option.
Yeah, the Dexter is an option. Sinestro is an option. Carol Ferris is an option. All of them. So anyway, he through his own like hubris and thinking I can do everything, it led to a planet being destroyed, and all those people dying.
I guess you could say it really blew up in his face.
Yeah, exactly. So and he dealt with the guilt for so long. And fun fact, Jon Stewart was actually not popular in the comics until the DCAU arrives and made him a U.S. Marine stereotype. And from then on, he was awesome. Yeah, of course. Of course.
You don't mess with the Marine, that's why.
I wish Max were here because then he could weigh in on that because he was in the Marines. But we love you, Jarheads. But,
yeah, I always make sure to send my weekly required care package of 24 pack of crayons to all Marines. I'm sorry. Don't hate me for that. Any Marine would actually laugh at that joke.
They would. Oh, and by the way, Tevia's favorite are Jon Stewart and Jessica Cruz. All right, then I need to play this. There you go.
Man.
And what's up, Lawrence Snyder gone? Who's your favorite lantern? I'm all right, Nick. Top 5 favorite lanterns.
Top 5.
Mine are Hal for green, St. Walker for blue, Atrocitus for red. Actually, no, Guy Gardner red. Actually, no, I'm going to go even further. Supergirl for red, because she has been a red lantern. And then Carol Ferris for Star Sapphires, because she's like one of the only well-known Star Sapphires. And Larfleeze. You can't not like Larfleeze.
9.
Yeah,
he decided the Orange Lantern oath.
Yeah, it's literally that. Oh, by the way, Lawrence Snyder Gun actually has a good one that we never thought of. You ready? Batman. Because he has been lanterns. That is so true. That's great. I love that.
So I might not name one from each one, but like,
okay.
And mine are in no particular order. I'm just going off the top of my head. So Dexter, Guy Gardner, Kilowog.
Yes. Poozer.
Hal Jordan and Larfleeze.
You can't not have Larfleeze in your list.
I'm sorry, I'm a greedy SOB.
Yeah, exactly. His power of greed. Now, to continue on, yeah, and what's interesting is that even though the JLU was very like limited, you still got a very good introduction to the Green Lantern Corps in general. And by the way, Dave the Impaler, badass name by the way, says Jeff Johns' Green Lantern was one of the greatest comic runs of all time. The tie-in books Green Lantern Corps was great. In fact, that's what this mounted of. I have all 3 omnibuses.
I have one more addition to my favorite lanterns.
What?
Lobo.
Oh yeah, because he's not all. No, mine is Superman. He had a yellow lantern in Injustice. That counts.
Because Lobo has a red lantern ring that he can use.
Yeah, and there is a metal version of Batman who became Dawnbreaker, and literally his willpower was so big he overrode the Lantern Ring's no kill rule and killed Joe Chill.
That is the most Batman.
That's the most exactly. That is Batman, and he killed the entire Green Lantern Corps that showed up.
Wait. How did you let a lantern ring kill? Because I'm Batman.
Because I wanted it to. That's why.
Because I'm the GD Batman.
Exactly. Dark Knight Returns reference. So now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Green Lantern movie, which we are going to go on a record because Nick and I both feel this. It's not the worst superhero movie of all time. It has problems, but it's not as bad as people think it is.
At worst, it's a 6. It kind of averages out to be a 6.5 movie. Because at worst, it's a 6.0 movie. At best, it's a 7.0 movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it actually can be pretty decent at times. And the thing is, at the very least, it's an enjoyable movie. Like, the characters are likable. I mean, it's really hard to have Ryan Reynolds not be likable. And the relationship between him and Blake Lively actually works. You can tell. Like,
and by the way, that was the start of the relationship, I think.
Yeah. like they actually met, like the fact that like they went on, got married, and they're still married today. Like, yeah, you see the chemistry on screen, and when someone tells you like they got married, like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Tim Robbins was a great father figure.
By the way, can I say my favorite Ryan Reynolds tweet? It relates to what you just said. He had a picture of Blake Lively and his 2 kids and him. It's like a family photo, and he goes, "Here are the 3 most loving people I've ever met." And then there's Blake. I love how he and Blake Lively go back at each other all the time. It's so great.
Okay. This is not Green Lantern related, but like I remember they did this little interview thing for Detective Pikachu, and they actually had Blake Lively there, and she's like, "I'm really getting like sick and tired of him going Pika Pika all around." Like she just like I mean, come on. I mean, the fact that they like talk crap about each other, that's just a relationship, and it works.
It's a good relationship. And by the way, Tevia makes a good point, because that was the Green Lantern First Flight movie, pretty much.
I think Sinestro was pretty good. He wasn't really the villain of the series. He was an antagonist. Honestly, the villain I thought was fine. Like making it kind of like the third wheel of the friend circle, and like him being the brain, which kind of felt was a good extension of his character. You know.
And Dave brings up the problem with the Green Lantern movie is not that it's bad. It's just average, mediocre, and forgettable, not worthy of a Green Lantern. That is true. I mean, here's the thing, though. Does the general audience really know what a great character the Green Lantern is?
Here's the problem. Here's really the problem with Green Lantern. If the movie came out, let's say 7 years later, let's say it came out literally before Justice League, after BVS, it would have been a hit. Everyone would love it. If it came out in a post-Deadpool world, literally the exact same movie, literally.
Pretty much, yeah.
It would have been. It would have. People would have loved it. You know, like if it would have come out, because like you gotta remember, in 2009, the MCU was just getting started, and like Avengers was still 2 years away, and the jokey style, the MCU really didn't start until Phase 2. That's it kind of started with Avengers, and then they really kicked it in high gear Phase 2. So if it came out in like the mid, like 2015 to 2018 kind of era, the movie would have been a hit. People would have loved it, because that's the exact type of movie that DC wanted to make.
Yeah.
Like they basically re-engineered Suicide Squad to make it be Guardians of the Galaxy.
We all know what happened with Justice League, and then so
like Guardians of the like Green Lantern is exactly the movie that they were wanting to make at that time, and so it probably would have done really well. Honestly, yeah, it's kind of a came out too soon kind of thing. And I think the audience wasn't like, because 2009 was still kind of the dark and gritty era. It was kind of starting to,
And by the way, so Medina says, I heard that Detective Pikachu has a film noir style. Is that true? Kind of. It's not black and white, but it has a lot of the themes of a film, because it's a detective movie.
I will. What I'll say about Detective Pikachu, it plays on a lot of the film noir tropes.
Yeah.
Not exactly a film. It's at best a buddy cop kind of movie. Like it feels more like a buddy cop kind of movie, honestly. Like it plays more like a buddy cop movie. It does do film noir tropes. It is adorable and a really good movie, and it's really respectful to Pokemon. Please, also the fact that it makes Pokemon the first movie canon to this movie, I love it. Like they literally make that film canon.
Yeah, and to bring up, Tevia says they really shouldn't have used Hector Hammond. That's true, because he had no effect on the movie, pretty much. If you took him out, Parallax still shows up. What they should have done is had Sinestro be the one that gets that is the villain the entire time. That's what First Flight did.
Well, the problem with that is the way the story is structured. You basically make Sinestro a lackey of Parallax versus like.
But he is.
But the thing is, I like the Sinestro in this movie because his motivations, while he's kind of a dick, it's like you understand where he's coming from. Like he's like, okay, you're kind of an a-hole, but like it's coming from a place of like, I understand you respect the Green Lantern Corps. You want to talk about Marine stereotypes. They basically got Michael Clark Duncan playing like every DI, every Marine Corps DI Like, they might as well have had Arlie Ernie play Kilowog.
Pretty much. That would have been fantastic. And by the way, Dave the Impaler, yeah, Green Lantern is no worse than many MCU movies that people like. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of movies that are better than the MCU.
In fact, like, honestly, I would put Green Lantern really on the same level as Ant-Man.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's pretty much that. Winter Soldier is actually more serious, and that's why it's great. And I admit I don't like the jokey superhero movie, mostly because everyone wanted movies. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I want some variety. You can have it if it's appropriate to the characters, but as a blanket thing, no.
Like, for example, having Spider-Man be a jokey movie. That's fine, because
that's the character.
He's known for his quips. But, like, Captain America, I mean, if it's a crossover movie and you have him say quips, that's fine, you know. But like in a Captain America movie, like you notice even Civil War was pretty serious.
Yeah, and you notice.
So I will say, so you like cats?
Yeah, I love that. He's just like a cat. Yeah. Lawrence Snyder Gunn says, "I'm still waiting for John Diggle to be Green Lantern." I know, me too. They've also made it so Stewart is his actual name, by the way. So
you mean
he is
John Diggle Stewart?
Yeah, I know. And Detective Pikachu is a really good video game adaptation, yes. And Medina says it's the classic, save the iconic villain for the sequel thingy, if we get a sequel. By the way, fun fact, when asked who Snyder would want to play Hal Jordan, he did say Ryan Reynolds. All right, the film has spent, should have spent more time in space. It didn't need a threat from Earth in that film. Parallax was enough. Maybe the Manhunter, so they need a secondary villain. What they could have done is made it so it was a threat that was going to affect Earth eventually, and Hal Jordan had to go deal with it anyway. So
the thing is, I feel like for a first film, having it set like almost all or entirely in space wouldn't really work. You need that earthly tether, especially for the first film. You're doing the origin story.
True. But you're dealing with an intergalactic cop movie, though.
The problem with the villain is you need someone on Earth to be the antagonist. And Sinestro couldn't really be an earthly protagonist because he's more galactic. You know, so you need someone on Earth kind of causing trouble that forces Hal to do Green Lantern-y stuff. You know, and honestly, I think having Harry as the earthly antagonist actually works really well, because since he's part of that friend group, it kind of creates a more personal stake, and I actually thought he was decently well written. You know, and I just kind of, it feels like it kind of forces Hal to kind of be a Green Lantern around those people, you know. I don't know, I guess I have a different opinion then.
Boy, a fun fact, you know who else was in the Green Lantern movie? Taika Waititi.
He was the best friend.
He was the best friend, and I'm like, man, you're gonna screw up superhero movies later.
I mean,
why do we need? Tavia says, why do you need an Earth-based villain? Because Hal Jordan's the first human Green Lantern,
and because if you're gonna have events take place on Earth, you need conflict, and because basically the space stuff doesn't kick off until like more the third, like halfway through the second act and into the third act. So like first and halfway through the second act, you need more Earth-based stuff.
And by the way,
I feel like having the film set entirely in space for the first, like second movie, sure, you want to have the second movie entirely in space, that's fine. But the first one, you need more, put people on more familiar ground, what they're familiar with, you know.
Plus, Jeff Johns' Green Lantern, the first arc, Rebirth, literally is only on Earth.
I mean, what Dennis said, yeah.
Stewart, like the original Men in Black, the mission is pretty standard. The drama comes from the characters having to learn the ropes. Yeah, exactly. They could have done that. And they did that in the Green Lantern animated movies, like First Flight, when he shows up. And First Flight, yeah, it took place pretty much only in space. I get that. But what that did well, what this one kind of lacked, is showed Hal is more of like a fish out of water, kind of. A little more than the live action movie did.
What I liked is it set up a conflict of humans can't be Green Lanterns because reasons, and Hal Jordan proved why humans deserve to be Green Lanterns.
And by the way, Dave, I haven't watched Stargirl yet. I haven't watched season 2 of Stargirl yet. I will, and I will come back to this.
Actually, I need to watch season 1, and I really liked it. I need to watch.
So good. They should have. Oh, here's the problem with that. They should use Atrocitus for this movie, similar to Jeff Johns' Secret Origin Story. I mean, here's the thing, though.
Atrocitus is more of a second or third sequel. Like, he's a second sequel because like you got Blake Lively in there, and obviously she becomes you
hint that could be like a post credit,
or even in the second movie she becomes Star Sapphire. And because like you start introducing more lanterns, you bring in Dexter because I had to bring him up,
of course.
And you kind of bring in Atrocitus, the other rings. You could say like, oh, because Sinestro like unlocked the yellow light, now all the lights are unlocked, and start you got Atrocitus coming in, Dexter.
But here's the thing, though,
and then basically they get like Lively be Star Sapphire.
Here's the problem with that. Atrocitus was a villain before. What Tevi is talking about is that Atrocitus was a villain before he became a Red Lantern. It's just he was a member of the Five Inversion terrorist group, and he was the reason why Abin Sur crashed. So I think that's what he's talking about. But here's the problem: that's still not enough for an entire movie.
I mean, you want to have it be a setup, like you want to have Atrocitus be like a minor. Like if we're rewriting, okay, I think at this point we're rewriting the first Green Lantern movie.
Okay, might as well. And by the way, Black Hand, you still need a lot of see, here's the problem with Black Hand. You need a lot of setup for Black Hand to actually work well.
I could see, like, honestly, like if you need to replace Harry as the first villain he needs to come,
and it's Hector, not Harry.
Hector, whatever. I don't care. If you need to replace Hector as like the first villain, replace it with a non-Red Lantern Atrocitus, and basically have him be kind of like doing stuff on Earth, and maybe have him working with Parallax. Who knows? He defeats him, doesn't kill him. Atrocitus escapes. And then like the credit scene is Sinestro gets the ring, and then he goes to like you see Sinestro kind of come down, and it's Atrocitus licking his wounds, and then Sinestro, who's in his Yellow Lantern garb now, he basically gives a Red Lantern ring to Atrocitus.
No, he won't do that. He will not do that because Sinestro hates Atrocitus because Atrocitus killed Abin Sur. He will not give him a ring. Plus, when you do Atrocitus, you have to do it in the way where his own rage leads to him creating the ring, because that's the whole point of the Red Lanterns.
Well, then honestly, let's go back to my original point where like he defeats him, he gets wounded, and he's so mad. Then the second film, you see him like because like
you see him making the core.
Because you see him for the first half of the movie. That's enough. He could just disappear from the rest of the movie.
Yeah,
and then reappear in the second one. It's fine, And then the second movie, he is the villain because he's so pissed off and whatnot.
Yeah, and by the way,
that works.
Dave the Impaler makes a good point. He was the villain for like the first half of the Green Lantern animated series, and they basically made him like a DC version of Thanos a little bit. And yeah, that was really good. And they gave you a part of an episode where they basically introduced why Atrocitus hates the Guardians of the Universe. They told the whole story that I talked about in the previous Under Two Capes episode.
So I think if we're rewriting Green Lantern, replacing Hector with a non-Red Lantern Atrocitus is probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, and by the way, Tevye actually makes a really good point. The movie actually combined Parallax with Krona. Krona was the renegade guardian that saw like the beginning of the universe. That's why there's like an evil guardian. And they said he became Parallax. No, that's not the way it works. So now we're going to transition to the SnyderVerse stuff. Green Lantern's role in the SnyderVerse. Now, Green Lantern actually plays a significant role in the SnyderVerse when we get to Justice League Part 3, because he crashes onto Earth in the nightmare. So what happens is that, let's assume that when the Snyder Cut came out, it had the Jon Stewart scene in it, where Jon Stewart tells him there's a war coming, I'm here to help you fight it. So what happens in Justice League, and what happens next is that Darkseid invades, it turns into the Nightmare timeline, and then the Green Lanterns lose contact with Jon Stewart. Then they send Hal Jordan to Earth, and Hal Jordan crash lands on Earth in the middle of the Nightmare timeline. And then Hal Jordan is helping them during the Nightmare timeline to essentially fight Darkseid and essentially get buried to the cosmic treadmill so we can go back in time and warn Bruce, a la Batman vs Superman, she's the key, save Lois Lane. So he's really important. And then in the final battle, from Justice League 3, after they reverted everything and there was this final epic battle all on like the history scene. Okay. Every Green Lantern shows up on Earth and fights Darkseid. So it's the armies of man, the Atlanteans, the Amazons, and every Green Lantern shows up. So I'm like, oh, that is dope. And by the way, do you know why there's not every Green Lantern does not show up in the Nightmare timeline? Because before he invaded Earth, Darkseid killed all the Green Lanterns.
Okay, how cool of a scene would it be where Darkseid says, "You and what army?" And then one of the characters stands up, and all of a sudden the sky lights up
Green
with a million green stars. Like all of a sudden you start seeing a bunch of stars, like going to the sky gets covered in green light, in like little points of green light.
And also like this massive green beam just blasts Darkseid, and then all of a sudden you start hearing in Brightest Day and Blackest Night. And by the way, Tevya, I saw that movie. I thought it was really good. That's what I'm gonna say.
No, I got you one better. So he's got John Stewart, Darkseid says along. Yeah. Then John Stewart starts reciting the oath, and as soon as he says, "Beware my might," Green Lantern's light. He puts
shines it up.
The beam's up, and then all of a sudden, you start to see the blinking lights. Oh my,
dude! Yeah, exactly.
Behold my might, Green Lantern's light, and then tick, and then the lights start blinking on because that was a signal,
Yeah, or what I could see is that they save the oath until every Green Lantern is there, because it's like John Stewart shows up, he goes, "You and what army?" And he goes, "This army." The Lanterns show up, and then like some point during the battle, every Green Lantern in unison starts going in Brightest Day and Blackest Night. No evil shall escape our sight. They go through the entire.
I kind of like my version better. It has more of a dramatic flair to it.
But it's too stereotypical.
Green Lantern's light, and then the lights come on. I just feel like it's kind of one of those from Darkest from Blackest Night to Brightest Day kind of thing. It's like it's like a tone reversal. Like, I don't know. It's just such a great moment.
Yeah, it would have been cool. I like my version better, so I'm gonna put that in there.
Civil War.
All right. Not Civil War, because guess who runs this channel?
No, I was doing the memes.
Yeah, of course. Oh yeah, Civil War. Dun, 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 dun. So. And yes, Tevya, it was actually a really good movie. I don't know why it was disappointing for you, but whatever. So yeah, that's basically Green Lantern's like involvement. And judging by how Snyder does VFX, I think it could actually look really good. In fact, actually, by the way, Dave the Impaler, I trust Snyder to make the Green Lantern Corps epic. Their power is often nerfed in team stories because some writers don't know how to portray them without being. Well, here's the thing. Look how Snyder did Superman in the Snyder Cut. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he could do overpowered characters. I'm fairly certain that he could do that, because I think because he's written overpowered characters and then had them like beat the crap out of a supervillain.
Well, the problem is you need to have overpowered characters fight as equally powered characters. That's why like Superman showing up and being the game changer versus Steppenwolf. That's why it works, because Superman is so powerful,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, or what if also it's not enough? So the Lanterns give the Justice League rings. That wouldn't happen, but that would be so cool. It's like a nice little nod to Blackest Night. So that's where I could see that going. And I know we have some disagreement on how that would work, guys. Unrelated.
Okay, so. There's an animated moment with a Green Lantern and Batman that I want to see in live action. Like, I want to see Hal Jordan, like, they're kind of checking something. You know what I'm about to say. Like, they're talking, like, "Oh, you're just a man," and then the Batman looks up.
Yeah.
And he's holding the Green Lantern.
Yeah, it's kind of like in Justice League Origin when he goes, "You're just some dude in a bat suit, aren't you?" And the Batman just holds up the Green Lantern ring. And by Medina, Sergeant Rock and Easy Company appear in the final battle. I don't think so, because that's a little too obscure. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Snyder, since he's always putting obscure characters. But
you know what's crazy is, there's kind of a missed opportunity there, where it's like, because they had those World War II flashbacks finding the mother box. Mm-hmm. How crazy would it have been if it was Sergeant Rock and his company that found found the mother boxes. Like he either had someone refer to him as Sergeant Rock, or he had it on his like thing.
Rock, yeah. Unfortunately, well, here's the thing though. They did show who found the mother boxes at the post-credit scene for Wonder Woman. It's her squad.
But I thought it was after they said it was after World War II. Like it was like
I think
I think what happened was maybe the Nazis stole it, and then after World War II they recovered it, and that because when Cyrus Stone talks about it, he says the U.S. recovered it after World War II when they were raiding the German archives.
It could be
so
that they started.
What I think what happened is they recovered it, but then the Nazis stole it in the 20 years because Hitler was after artifacts, and the Fahad digs for trinkets in the desert.
Yeah, or it could be that they just started searching for it because all they said is that we have a new job. Find this box.
Or so maybe they never found it.
Maybe they never found it before the Nazis did. So there you go.
Or they found it and the Nazis took it. I mean, all we really know is at the end of World War II, which is like, there's a 20-year gap between World War I and II, so plenty of time for, shenanigans.
And by the way, Dave the Impaler has a fantastic idea. If the Green Lantern Corps movie happens before Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 or 3, probably will. Maybe Batman could get a Sinestro Corps ring. Can you imagine Batfleck with a Sinestro Corps ring?
Smell that.
That's fair. Right. Hopefully the Green Lantern Corps series is great. Yeah, I would say so. I think it's going to be good because this is the one time where I'm glad Jeff Johns is involved in it because he defined Green Lantern. So,
how crazy would it be if it came out that Ethan Van Sciver did concept art for the movie? Wow. He's gonna get a paycheck either way. Might as well have him put him to work.
And the way I could see it is that the usual people who don't like Ethan Van Sciver for no reason will say we're boycotting the series, and then they'll watch it anyway.
I mean, just imagine. Do you remember how much people freaked out when Ethan announced like he got enough of a royalty check to buy a new car and a nice new car at that? Like he probably got like $60,000-$70,000 or something. Yeah,
if only they made Wonder Woman 2 in the 40s. I think it was a mistake to make Wonder Woman sequel in the past again. I think that they should have only done Wonder Woman 1 in that series and then moved on to the modern day.
Here's my problem with that. Okay. Well, I'm agreeing with you, by the way. I 100% agree with you. I'm just kind of expanding on it. They said that he had ignored Man's World, that she kept to herself. Like the fact that the first time she was Wonder Woman was in BVS. Like that was the first time that she had put on the armor again, kind of thing.
The Twitter will explode. They'll say, we're boycotting DC. Sure you are.
Here's the problem. Because if you have her pop up once, and then you have the question of, why didn't she come up for this or that? Like, why didn't she try and behead Hitler? Like, why didn't she fight in World War II? Why didn't she go to Vietnam? Why didn't she go to Korea? Why didn't she try and get the oil sheiks to agree on the oil embargo? Like, there's so many things, like the Indo-Chinese War, like Spanish Civil War, like there's so many conflicts in between now and then that like you raise the question, why didn't she get involved? And it kind of makes it look like looks like an ass. I'm sorry for the cursing, but like,
yeah, that's true, and yeah, that would be an issue. That's why I'm like, yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't be the past. Just you can have her and explain it like she's like helping people from a distance, but yeah, exactly. Don't like immediately have it. Oh, she's helping people as Wonder Woman.
Because the thing is, if she doesn't get involved, then she has the perfect excuse. Those are man's conflicts, and I stay out of them. I stay out of man's conflicts.
Exactly, and Superman actually makes,
and then that's a perfectly valid thing to say. Like she got involved in man's conflicts, and she's like she realizes that they got bad, but she stayed out of it. It's callous, but it's understandable.
Plus, Superman, in fact, makes that point because someone asked him, "Why don't you stop all these wars and stuff?" He says, "Because that they have to be allowed to make their own mistakes." And by the way, Lawrence Snyder Gunn says Wonder Woman probably would help the JSA. I agree on the. I agree. What I think Diana would do, she wouldn't suit up.
JSA is another one of those can of worms. Yeah, like if you look at the Black Adam trailer, it's very much apparent that they have been fully active for a very long time.
Or because in the comics, in the prequel comics, they make it like the JSA was the team in the past, but they disbanded and now they're just getting back together.
I don't know, because like they have a house, they're basically playing them like the X-Men.
But no, here's the thing: even if they have the house, that could just be like where Dr. Fate lives, and they used to use that place as a base. Because I guarantee, because in the comics, the JSA is like a because someone actually says the JSA. That's a name I haven't heard in a while. So they were a team in the past.
So it's kind of more of a Black Adam is here. The Justice League is semi-inactive. Let's get the band back together.
Yeah, the Justice League are like, they could say that they're dealing with something off-world. And by the way, Dave the Impaler says, World War I was more brutal in many ways than wars that came afterwards. To her, it was just more wars of man's world. Yeah, that's the way they could explain it. It's like, okay, it's just more of the same. It's not going to, and there's nothing I can do to stop this.
I still feel like, I don't know, because like, with the way she felt, like unless he was doing like, I'm not going to do anything. The fact that, because like in '84, it's implied that she's active as a superhero, like she's just saving people, left and right, especially that opening scene. Like Wonder Woman is kind of a known person in the
kind of.
'84.
But what they could always say is that she was helping people from the shadows, not necessarily dressed up, but pretty much helping people from the shadows.
To be fair, in defense of your point, in 1984 there is a scene where she takes her tiara and specifically takes out the camera.
Yeah, and by the way,
so
Tavia says,
I'm just throwing you a bone there.
And by the way, Tavia, yeah, Alan Scott's going to be the Green Lantern in the series, so it's going to be one of the Green Lanterns they show in the HBO Max series.
To be fair, Alan Scott is the OG.
They could make a Sergeant Rock movie about Easy Company securing the mother box. They're not going to make it. See, here's why they're not going to make that, because they already have because they're done with the mother box storylines. They're not going to do any more prequels or anything like that after this. They're going to continue on with the story because we already had the mother box.
Here's correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Sergeant Rock just basically your standard World War II story? Like there's not really much beyond it.
Yeah, and they're already established where the mother box was. I would love to see a Sergeant Rock movie like that, but the way they're setting up the universe with the SnyderVerse, they've already done that plot.
Yeah, like there'd be no point. Like I could see them having Sergeant Rock be a cameo in that scene. Like them establishing that it was Sergeant Rock and Easy Company that found it. Honestly, I don't know why they didn't do that, but
yeah, I know, me too. Plus, here's the thing: they're not going to make a Sergeant Rock movie because guess what? Judging by what Zaslav is saying, he's only making movies about the DC characters that the average person not into comics knows, like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Justice League. That's it.
I do feel like I feel like at some point they're going to try and get around to building up a Teen Titans movie because okay, hear me out.
They could. That I could see.
Because here's the thing. Teen Titans is a very well-known property.
With the show.
And also the Teen Titans comic book was actually, because here's the thing that a lot of people don't know. In the 80s, Teen Titans was neck and neck with X-Men. X-Men was the book of the 80s. And Teen Titans was right up there with it.
Mm-hmm. But the problem is non-comic book fans. That's what I'm talking about. Because
non-comic book fans, they know it from their cartoon. And also Teen Titans Go.
That helped.
So the thing is with doing a Blue Beetle movie, I can very much see them doing a Nightwing movie. Starfire would probably be introduced in the Teen Titans movie. Like I can see her
or in the Nightwing movie. What I could see them doing is like introducing like Corey as just Corey, and then she's someone helping Grayson about doing stuff, and then they reveal she's Starfire in the Teen Titans movie. And by the way,
actually, I really feel like Corey and Blackfire being the villain of a Teen Titans movie and having her come to Earth and them accepting her, I think that would be perfectly fine for a movie. I think that is a great plot for a Teen Titans.
Oh, and by the way, they're not making a Young Justice movie because while Young Justice had a show, that show was very obscure. That's one of the reasons why they canceled it, because not enough people watched it.
Also,
Teen Titans is different.
Here's the thing. Young Justice, the name itself, confuses general audiences.
For Justice League.
Yeah. Versus Teen Titans, I mean, besides Teen Titans being way more iconic, also it's it tells you exactly what you need to know. Teen Titans.
Teenage superheroes. Yeah, I know you watched Young Justice, Tabby, but I'm talking about the general audience. Zaslav is trying to get more than just the comic book fans to watch this stuff.
Because here's the thing, all you need to do for like, imagine you're going into a movie poster and you're in a theater and you go there and you see a movie poster and it's just a giant T building on an island. General audiences would probably know, and it says Teen Titans.
Yeah.
And, it's just a T building.
Yeah, and I know you want a season 5 of Young Justice. That's probably not going to happen. What they could do, what I think they're going to do is rebrand the stuff. They're not going to do a Young Justice anything anymore, is what I think, because it's too confusing with Justice League. I really think that what they're just going to do is just make that Teen Titans. And by a Batfleck movie could step a Nightwing movie. Yes.
Also, here's my roster for Teen Titans. Blue Beetle, Impulse, obviously Starfire, Raven, Cyborg is the liaison.
Okay, I could see that how they fit it in there.
Cyborg is the mentor. He is the Justice League liaison. That because like Cyborg as it is now, you can't really bring him down to the Teen Titans.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have him be the mentor,
sure,
then you get it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So, that's exactly where I was going to play Cyborg, because that's kind of where he is in the comics, because in the current continuity, he was the Justice League member.
Also, they need to do a Batfleck under the Red Hood.
Oh, hell. Of any movie, of any comic book storyline that fits in the Batfleck universe, it's under the freaking Red Hood.
Also, Jensen Ackles is playing Red Hood.
Yes, and plus, what you could now with Batfleck the way he is now, you could do that whole no killing thing, because Batfleck sees Jason as going down the path that he went down after Jason was killed, and he doesn't want him to go through that dark path anymore.
So, Under the Red Hood is the second in the Batfleck trilogy. The first one is
the Batfleck movie.
Is Deathstroke with Batgirl. And you can have Nightwing in there, basically just have him in there for a while, just to establish him in the universe and say, hey, Dick Grayson's been in Bloodhaven this whole time, doing his own thing. After the death of Jason Todd, they never spoke again, and you can have Batgirl, or you can have Carrie Kelly Robin or Tim Drake. You have your options. Basically, build up another sidekick is what I'm saying. Yeah,
100% is what I think. 100% we're in line on that. And Tavi, I just want to say one more thing. When you that's okay to think to want the Young Justice. Yes, I want that too, because I like that show. But here's the problem with that. We have to approach this as if we have no knowledge of comics, because that's the audience they're shooting for, because Zaslav wants to make these characters more mainstream and less obscure. And by the way, Dave the Imperial says, if Young Justice Season 5 happens, it'll get licensed to another network. Yes, exactly. He doesn't want to spend much money on animation for HBO Max, not even for the Bruce Timm Batman show, which I knew that was going to get not on HBO Max in any way, because I feel like at this point, everyone's sour on Bruce Timm.
Which I feel is a little bit hyperbolic. Like, honestly, yeah, I'm a Bruce Timm defender. I feel like a lot of the hate
Batman, Batgirl.
I too feel like that is overblown. I feel like it's kind of it's like hating on Nickelback. Everyone hates on Nickelback because it's cool to hate on Nickelback, and I feel it's the same way with Bruce and Barbara. Everyone hates on it because it's cool to hate on it. I feel like people are being way too stupid about it. Because, like, honestly, if you watch the movie, she comes on to him.
No. I'm not talking about that movie. I'm talking about in the show, because he tried to pair them in the show. Obviously,
and honestly, it just made Batman Beyond even better.
No, it didn't. But here's the problem with it, dude. Here's the problem with it. You can try and defend it in any way possible. It's creepy as hell, because they put Batman as the father figure.
They're both over 18.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Bruce Wayne is pretty much another father figure.
It's an arbitrary line, okay?
Okay.
It's just kind of it's stupid. Like
the betrayal.
It's like this. It's just like, I don't know. It's like.
Okay, I'm done. It's okay. Now, Tevye says if it gets the license to another network, that could actually work for Young Justice, maybe Netflix. Yeah, if they bring it back at all, because I feel like Zaslav also will want. I still don't think it will get licensed, because here's why. The only reason why the Batman thing was not canceled outright like the other shows, because it's Batman. And here's the thing. Ultimately, the only content that DC should be making really... Oh, by the way. Yeah, he's been... It wasn't just that. It's just his writing has gotten less good. You can say, yeah, he was good in like the Batman animated series area.
I can accept that. Like a lot of writers, as they get older, they kind of lose their touch.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah, sure, that's a fair point. You know, I'll grant you that. You know.
Okay, thank you. Now going back to it's Young Justice. Yes, 100%. But it's not going to get. If anything, Teen Titans would be licensed out once again, because guess what? Young Justice, the general audience member, is going to get confused with the Justice League.
And well, the problem is Teen Titans Go is currently on air, and it's not going to leave anytime soon. So we're not going to see a Teen Titans another cartoon. And besides, if they're going to do a Teen Titans cartoon, they're just going to revive the 2003 series.
Yes.
Plus, like, if they're gonna do that, they're going to revive. Like they've teased it before. They've done crossover movies. But so if they're going to do it, they're just going to do a season 6. Which, by the way, Teen Titans ended on a bit of a cliffhanger. The stuff with Terra, So it's like there are storylines with the original series that need to be resolved, and you could do a season 6 onward very easily, mind you.
Well, here's how it keeps going. They could use that as like a comedy show to make fun of stuff. Hell, Zack Snyder's going to show up on an episode. So
that's what they do. It's pretty much like a lampoon show. It's like your standard Looney Tunes kind of stuff.
And I love it. By the way, there's actually a rumor going on that a Titans, Doom Patrol, and Stargirl movie may be happening. No, I don't think so. None of these at most B tier characters are going to get movies. Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, what I've heard, and actually me and Tevye and DC Comics Gamer were talking about this on the stream earlier, is since all those series are coming to an end, they're gonna do like a streaming event on HBO Max. Like you either be a movie for HBO Max, or it'll be like a mini series on HBO Max.
I could see that.
Basically, as like a last hurrah, like all those shows, because you can easily kind of cram them into a universe for one. Either a mini series or movie, and have that be like the last hurrah. Yeah,
that I could see as like a way to end it, and then I think those shows are going to end because I think that for right now, and this is my prediction for the DC movies and TV shows for the foreseeable future, unless it's an A tier character like Superman, Batman, unless it's a Justice League member, not getting anything.
Or unless it's highly successful.
Because the reason why Teen Titans Go keeps going, Tevye, is because it gets views.
Also, the same reason why Harley Quinn is still going.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's helped by her mediocre movies. I mean, Suicide Squad 2016 was pretty good. Birds of Prey was crap.
Harley Quinn is an insanely popular character, and her merchandise sells like crazy.
Oh yeah, she has always been a really popular character since she was introduced in the show and then the comics. So yeah, she's one of those. I count Harley Quinn as an A-lister, honestly, at this point, because she has grown to that point.
Yeah, also the thing though about Harley Quinn is she really hits that female demographic really, really hard.
Yeah, 100%. So she's good. She's gonna keep getting stuff.
I mean, go to any Comic-Con. Any Comic-Con, there's usually at least 5 to 10 different Harley Quinn cosplayers running around at any one time.
Yeah, exactly. Particularly after the Suicide Squad movie, but with Young Justice, it is not like. Here's the other thing about Young Justice: it's not like search engine optimized well. Because yes, the title, but here's the thing: with Teen Titans, people love teenage shows. Hell, that's what the Arrowverse basically is. Oh, by the way, Dave the Imperialist says might be a Crisis TV event, also crossing over the Arrowverse because all the shows are probably going to coming to an end soon. Yeah, I believe that the Flash is ending, so all the Arrowverse is dead except for Superman and Lois, which they have said is on a different Earth. And by the way, Tevye says, "Wait a second, are we getting another Superman animated show that's supposed to go on HBO Max?" No, it's happening because of Superman. Again, that's what I'm telling you. No, unless it's like an A-list character, which is not anyone on Young Justice, really, when you think about it. Maybe Nightwing, you can have that argument.
Superboy is B+.
B plus. But here's the thing. None of those characters on Young Justice are A-list characters that the general audience, not the comic book audience, not the other audience is going to think of when they think of DC. So
that's why I said Superboy's B plus, because like Superboy does have some penetration among general audiences. Beast Boy as well, but he's a Teen Titans character. So
that's why I say Teen Titans will keep going, because guess what? People know Teen Titans more.
Zatanna is a B plus character as well.
Yeah, Zatanna. Now they could introduce her. Now these characters can be background characters in other things. That's fine. Aren't technically the
I want to define B plus real quick. So an A-lister,
real quick. Tabby brings up, aren't technically the Justice League and Young Justice? Yes, but they're not the main characters. That is the thing. They're not the main. They're not in every episode. This is not a Justice League show. If it were called Justice League, then yes. If it were called Justice League Young Justice, then yeah, I could do that. But because it's called Young Justice 2, people see this and see a whole arcs with Nightwing and Rocket. People are like, "Who the hell are you people?" And by the way,
by the way, we're not saying these are bad characters.
No, not whatsoever.
I like Rocket. I want to see her in more stuff, but
I'm just approaching this as someone that's never. Assume that this doesn't exist behind me. Assume it's just a white wall. I'm coming at this as someone that's never read a comic book.
Assume that basically we're adopting a normie mindset.
Yeah, and by the way, so Nick, I'm sorry to interrupt it, because actually you make a good point. Let's define what a B tier character is.
Okay, so okay, let's just kind of go A tier character is one where everyone knows it. Like they're your Batman, your Superman, your Wonder Woman, your Green Lanterns. Like you show the symbol, the average person would probably know. Mm-hmm. A B tier character is one where some or a large majority of normies might know them. These are your Nightwings. These are your Green Arrow. Well, Green Arrow is A-list. Became A-list after the show.
The main characters of the Arrowverse shows like Green Arrow and the Flash, yeah, they're A-listers, I would say at this point.
No. B plus is the ones where normies might actually know them, like Nightwing, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Superboy, Brainiac, like most people, kind of thing, just general osmosis kind of thing. And then
and by the way, yes, I know technically Billy Batson is, but no one knows who Shazam is when you tell them, okay, who's the superhero Shazam before the movie?
Honestly, Shazam has been a C-list character. Okay, so a B-list character is a character who the general public might not know much about him, but for people in the fandom are really popular. Okay, This is like your Ms. Martians, your
hello, Megan. I had to.
I know, yeah. Like your Ms. Martians, your Beast Boys. Well, Beast Boy is a B plus character. Sorry, Raven's B like pretty much the main roster of Teen Titans is B plus.
Whoever was in that show was B plus.
But Rocket is a C, maybe B. Deathstroke is a B tier character, and C tier
Deathstroke
is.
I mean, he's been getting a lot more. Let me put it this way: I think he's still. I think he's B plus.
B plus. The definition is normies might have heard of him. Like normies have heard of Nightwing, not necessarily Deathstroke.
I think he's getting toward A list. In other words, if
eventually he will. Eventually, Static Shock is B plus plus.
Yeah, he's almost there because he had that show. But if I were to go up to my neighbor on the street and go, "Do you know who Static Shock is?" Chances are they're not going to know.
Like if this was 2005,
yeah,
Static Shock would have been A.
It's like this way. Another reason why the Batgirl show was canceled. She's a B tier, B plus, maybe B plus tier character ultimately.
If it's Barbara Gordon Batgirl, then it's B plus. If Barbara Gordon is Oracle, she's B.
Yeah, because you think yes, there are people that I was on a stream having a debate about the Batgirl thing, and I mentioned about how she's not really that well known. Someone said, "Well, no, the 1966 show," and I'm like, "How many people are still in the fandom?"
That was 50 years ago.
Yeah, how many people are still? How many modern fans have watched that show?
Also, the thing about Batgirl, she was in the last season. When people think of Batman '66, they think of Burt Ward and Adam West.
And
Yvonne Craig, and honestly, every time they mention Yvonne Craig, it's more like they post a bikini pic, like, "Hey, look how hot that girl was back in the day." You know, that's really the discussion.
Who the F watched that? I know. And by the way, Tevya, yes, I will also. We're also still. No, that's going to get canceled soon. That's going to get canceled soon.
Also, to be fair, Batman was literally one of the most popular shows in the nation around the time, and honestly, it's still a fairly well loved show to this day.
Yeah, and by the way, Tevya, that's not going to show up. I would be very surprised if that premieres, or if it premieres, it'll only get one season. That's it. Because the whole Arrowverse doing shows, that's done. The only show that I could see. It hasn't been official, and I know they haven't come out and said. Have they said it's canceled?
I thought it, but it could be wrong. It could be some misinformation.
Show canceled. I really hope it's canceled. If not, it's going to be canceled. Let's see. Arrowverse is dead. Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We're all like that. Yeah, it's going to be canceled. I guarantee you, it's going to be canceled. Or it's only going to get one season. Or they'll pull a Swamp Thing before it premieres. Canceled. We're only going to show one season. It's even a rumor. It's been canceled. So, again, Tevya, it's done. All that stuff is done. And once again, nothing we're saying means that these characters are horrible characters whatsoever. Because a lot of the best DC characters are the B-tier characters. But we're just saying the reason why they're not going to get movies or TV shows, or their TV shows are getting canceled, like Young Justice, is because either it will cause confusion with the general audience. Because once again, take Young Justice and the Justice League. Yes, they show up. But let me go this way. If I were to go downstairs to my mom and say, "Do you want to watch Young Justice?" She'll go, "Oh, you mean the Justice League?" Exactly. That's the problem with having a show called Young Justice. If it were labeled Teen Titans, then it's better. If they relabel to Teen Titans, that could be something, but they're not going to do that.
When there's trouble, you know who to call.
Teen Titans.
Teen Titans.
Sorry,
I had to.
Not likely. No, it's not. I don't think it's going to get one season. Yeah, I think it's going to get. I think they're waiting for the right time to announce a cancellation, but I think it's going to get canceled. And by the way, also Batgirl was taking place in a post Flashpoint. That's not happening now. Maybe they could have just said in the Burtonverse, but that would have been off brand for their plans. Yeah, exactly.
Like if it was going to be like a spin-off kind of thing, but at that point you're doing a Batman Beyond movie without doing Batman Beyond. You're kind of wasting that your one chance of that story. And honestly, if you want the best, because Batman Beyond is more would do better.
Oh, that would, because first off, Batman is in the title. Literally, Batman's in the title.
Also, because here's the thing, you can very easily do a Batman Beyond set in the Burtonverse,
Oh yeah, that's what they should have done.
Honestly, I wish they would have done this 5 to 10 years earlier. So imagine doing this in 2015 while Jack Nicholson, because Jack Nicholson, he's still alive, but he's not really acting anymore. Mm-hmm. Oh my god! Actually, how crazy would it be if they do it now and they have Jack Nicholson actually do some voices? Mm-hmm. You know, oh my! Return. That would have been great. Return to the Joker is what I mean.
But yes, 100. Here's the thing, and people, and this one argument I heard was well, no, Batgirl would have done well because it has Bat in the title. Well, no, because it's Batman. When people think of the bat symbol, they think of Batman. The modern audience now thinks of Batman. And here, that's the thing. That's why you have only Batman movies and Justice League movies, because these are the characters that people globally, no matter if you're a fan, know.
You want to know the last time Robin showed up in a live action, big budget Hollywood movie?
Wasn't that bad Batman and Robin movie?
In 1997.
Yep. And then again,
there are people who weren't even. There are people. We're probably talking to people right now who weren't even alive when that came out.
Plus, here's the thing about that. What was the first word in that title?
Batman.
Exactly. That's the thing.
No. Even better. It was Batman and Robin.
Now, Tevya, here's a way I could see them doing, maybe bringing back Young Justice in a better format. They have to retool it. First off, they have to retool it so the writers aren't putting the personal politics in the movie, because that was all last season. But and by Lawrence Snyder brings this up. By the way, we're about to wrap up, so be prepared to be brought on the panel. But anyway,
yeah.
But I'll say this one more thing, and then we'll wrap up, and then we'll get to the to Screecher and then the audience stuff. Now, I will say this: if they took Young Justice and rebranded it as a Justice League show and had the Young Justice show up with the Justice League members, then I could see it and retool it as Justice League Young Justice or something like that, or like somehow redo it. Then I could see that happening. But the fact that it's still called Young Justice, and let's face it, yes, we watched it, but not enough people watched it in order to. And by the way, don't be so sure.
Oh, I'd love for them to do more with Legion of Superheroes.
But look who's writing it.
That's the problem.
Yeah. John Blake was an amalgamation of multiple Robins in Dark Knight Rises, but that, oh my gosh, and his name was Robin.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was really stupid. Like
that was the.
Just
call him Dick Grayson.
I think what happened was people kept bugging, the studios kept bugging Christopher Nolan to put Robin in the movie. It's like, fine, I'll put Robin in the movie. And he did it in the most asinine way possible.
Yeah, that's the one part of the Nolan trilogy where I'm like, that's undefendable. Now,
I mean, I like John Blake as a character. I mean, I even the fact that he becomes Batman, I don't even mind that story point because that's kind of really what his character was, the culmination of his character. But calling him Robin was just stupid.
Now, there's one more thing I think they could have done to salvage that. And yeah, no one in the general audience, not enough people watch Young Justice to justify it. Now,
here's the thing about Batgirl. Okay.
Yeah.
It's already cost $70 million. Probably let's say it costs $150 million to make. You're gonna have to put in another $100 million to market it. That's $250 in the hole. Okay. Films need to make at least triple their budget to be profitable. Mm-hmm. Half sometimes. That film probably would have made at most $400 to $500 million.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and streaming it would have made even less.
Plus, it looks horrible. But the SPSF had the point.
So it like mathematically, it just made more sense to cancel it, eat the $70 million because the film was it was far from being done. Like that by the director's own admissions. Literally said far from done. It wasn't nearly finished. It wasn't practically finished. It wasn't finished. It was far from finished, which was these director's own words.
Yeah. So on that note, let's transition to the audience participation section. So what we're going to do with this, once again, we're going to do Screecher. I just want to go over the rules real quick of the audience participation thing. So first, we're going to have Nick show his comic, and then we're going to get to that. And by the way, this is the better idea right here.
Like, actually, not
because he by implication, he becomes Batman. So that's the way to do it.
You know what would happen? What I would have done is say like, "Hey, you should have gone by your given name, Richard."
Yeah, there you go. That's better. But so here's the way,
or just like Grayson. That's a beautiful last name. Why don't you go by that one? You know, or just have some sort of hint. Or why don't you go by your mother's name, Drake? You know.
So the way we do this, the way we're going to do the audience participation thing is that you all send me a DM on either Discord or Twitter. Dennis is up first because you already put that in there. And what we're going to do is that we'll let you in for 5 minutes each. 5 minutes. We have 3 slots. The only rule is that no cursing. That's it. Now, you can give your thoughts on anything we talked about on this stream. But once again, I just want to emphasize this. For 5 minutes, and Nick will be timing you, so prepare your timer. And then what he'll do is he'll, like, raise his hand or, like, do something to indicate when you have 2 minutes and then wrap up your thought. And by that would have been good. Bruce Wayne would have to return to train him anyway. Yeah, exactly. So on that note, I'm just getting the queue together, but I'm going to...
Could you pull up the pre-launch page?
Yeah, just let me send. Just let me put my Twitter in the. So it's going to be Dennis, then Tevia, and then I see that, Tevia. Here's my Twitter. Send me a DM. We have one more slot available. So send me a DM on Twitter if you want to come on the panel. If not, I will. We'll just do something else at that point. So now,
I'll tell you what. I'll share my screen.
Okay, that's fine.
That way you can kind of spend your time and whatnot.
So we'll start with this real quick, and it's flickering. Okay, there you go. We got it.
So this is Screecher, and right now I'm trying to go for signups. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. Could you share the link in the description, please?
I got you.
Flash it on screen, maybe. So while he's doing that, let's kind of show off the video and whatnot, and then I'll kind of go into more about it.
That's fine.
My name is Avery Fletcher. After 7 years away, I have come home with only one goal: to save my father. But to do that, I can't be the woman I once was. To honor my father's legacy, I must become someone else. I must become something else. I must become Screecher.
It looks great. I love it. It has my seal of approval.
So if you're looking for something that kind of evokes the late 90s, early 2000s style DC comics, in particular Batman, this is your girl. Anyone who signs up will get a free Screecher-related wallpaper. And then if you go on to Back to Project, you'll get 3 free ebooks, Project Access, and then Turn Samurai's Issue 1 and 2. Those ebooks are if you sign up. Kind of like a combination of Batman, Moon Knight, and then a little bit of Dove from Titans. That's what I was kind of going off of.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you follow this link and then put your email address in, you'll be signed up to be notified when it goes live, which will be October 7th, which I will be launching on this very channel.
Mm-hmm. Looks great.
So yeah.
Yes. All right. So I will send out the link.
All right, let's do this.
First, we got Dennis. And remember, you have 5 minutes. Keep it PG. After that, totally done. Now, you don't have to use all the 5 minutes. And in fact, the way we're going to do this is that if you don't use up all your 5 minutes, it goes to the next person.
Oh, they're not getting 50 minutes. They're getting 5 minutes. All right, I'm ready.
Okay. And we'll let you know when to start speaking. And Dennis, you're on Comics League. Begin.
Wait, okay. All right, Dennis, your time begins now. Go.
Right. I'm going to try to make this quick, but not too quick so that you won't understand me. I currently, I have a couple of ideas, actually, in an ideal ideal timeline.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think they should do?
What?
First, about Luthor. You know how Lex Luthor... I had this brilliant idea about what to do to Lex Luthor in the SnyderVerse from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Intergang.
Ooh.
Basically.
Hey,
Luthor lost his empire. His business empire is gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Either seized by federal government or bankrupt. He's a wanted criminal. What does he do? He joins Intergang, offers his what's left of his resources to Intergang in order of a top position. And then he starts manipulating the situation for overthrowing Bruno Mayhem. Mm-hmm. And then you can make either a you know what Colonel McPace SG3 means?
Mm-hmm.
You know what that means?
What?
It's when is a term from the Stargate channel. Is when a character shows in the background, so there's more to the setting. You know.
Okay.
There's another story that is happening for another guy who's living his own story while the main character does the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they could do Luthor like that, or make a movie about him more from forwards. But I think that they could make an idea of making so when the episode passes, it becomes clear that Luthor is plotting something with Intergang, and then suddenly when he realizes he's taking power, and there's this whole entire story that happened in the background. of the movies.
That works. I like that a lot. Yeah, it actually makes a lot of sense to link Luther with Intergang. I never thought of that.
Yep. Another thing, I have had this idea for SnyderVerse Supergirl, actually. You know how in the Earth 2 comics, Supergirl was adopted by Clark and Lois?
Yeah.
Do something like that. Then you
That
create
could actually
I
work.
always thought it was just natural that they would adopt her. I don't get why they don't do that in the stories we have. Only Earth 2 is the one that they adopted her, and that's actually ridiculous because when you look like it, it makes perfect sense for them to adopt her.
It does make sense, actually.
Oh, another one. Actually, this is something else. You know what I think DC should do once they get finished with this universe?
What?
This universe after the reboot? After this universe is done, after we finish all those arcs and we need to reboot?
Yeah.
Diesel Punk.
A what?
A Diesel Punk setting.
Ooh.
You know how superheroes start?
2-minute warning.
Oh, so forget it.
No, 2-minute warning. You still 2
No,
minutes.
that was going to be too long. I was going to show some concept art how I imagine this universe. For example, have Metropolis look like this.
All right, let me see. Oh, that could work.
And then Gotham looks like this.
Yeah, that would look really good. That would look really cool.
Then you can make have the weapons be like those weapons from Fallout. You know how in Fallout they have those Tommy guns that fire lasers? Something like that. Have something like that to be the weapons of the bad guys. And have the retro-futuristic aesthetic. Similar to the animated series that did that, you know. But the first Batman animated series, for some reason they dropped it later.
That works. I like that. That'll be very unique, at least for like an animated movie.
Yep. I actually got a friend of mine who is like very young, so he still likes Marvel and still is on those MCU stuff. He's very young. He's like 12. And I convinced him to watch the animated series because he likes those aesthetics, those World War II stuff. So I had him like the aesthetics, so showed him the Batman the animated series aesthetics. All right, you're gonna stop.
No, you still got some time.
No, forget it. I just told her I want to go. I was thinking was going to be able to share the screen with Tanya, and I was going to have like just this period. I thought it was going to be like one comes, one leaves, one comes, one leaves.
Yeah. And then if you want to continue, you can drop stuff in the comments too. Absolutely. And by Taladia Plays, what's up, brother? Sorry, can't stop on tonight, lads. Got an appointment tomorrow morning. That's fine. We'll see you next week.
Can I stay in the background, like just watching it from here?
Well, because we're gonna leave as soon as we have the last person on, we're gonna leave. So.
All right, I'm gonna leave it. All right.
All right. So I'll see you, brother. All right. And let me send it to Tevia, because so far we only have him and Tevia. So, all right. Again, if anyone else wants us to come on, just drop me a DM or and I'll send you the link. So let's see. Anyone else? Because we have one more slot. Either that or Nick and I will just talk for 5 more minutes. Actually, we do have one more thing we want to say before we leave in light of what day it is today. And then we'll call that after. Either we'll do 5 minutes of that or we'll just have someone else come on. All right. And Lawrence Snyder gun, eventually we'll get you on the panel because I can tell you have good taste in DC stuff. So, Tevia, I sent you the thing. All right. What is up, Tevia? Hang on, just give him time. Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Yep. No, my way.
Your 5 minutes begin now.
Go ahead.
Okay, I've been at two times. One, the Young Justice stuff, but I still believe that's not going to be canceled because one, we have not heard anything about that with canceled. It's not going to happen. I'm going to fight to make the show keep going, baby. I'm going to keep fighting everything I can. But, it's fun on John, and that's not talking about today. But after Green Lantern, okay, Green Lantern. My favorite is John Stewart, man. I'm full of John Stewart. I love the Cruz. And part of me hasn't been saying a very long time. Why can't we just get Jessica Cruz at the animated movie? Or John Stewart animated movie? Well, not John Stewart. This is John Stewart team-up movie. Good?
Yes, I want a Jessica Cruz animated movie. We are totally in agreement on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I just want to share this real quick. At least on HBO Max.
I saw that. But here's the thing. I did my own research on that, and that's BS.
Okay.
It's not canceled.
All right, so go on.
Yeah, like I said before, John, I bought that before. I did my own research. That show, and it will come back, and I will fight tooth and nail to come out and fight that can. But that's not talking about it. But like I said, I did Green Lantern. I bought the movie into a live action movie. I think in general you need to do it smart and don't mess it up because you messed up once already. So instead of Hal Jordan, why not just do what sound bad just recruit or Guy Gardner?
They're all going to be in the show, by the way. So.
Well, yeah, that's true. But here's the thing: that show, we haven't John shoot. Sorry if I curse.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, we have a Jack and shooting by the show at the property for years.
True, that's true.
So I'm gonna want to believe that show's happening. I don't believe it's gonna happen. Well, I don't want to be a downer. We don't. I want that show to maybe come out. 50-50 coin does that, but not cancel it.
Particularly if it's Jessica Cruz, just saying, because she's gonna be the show. I really want that.
I want that too. Next Simon Bass.
Mm-hmm.
Because most Simon Bass just go quick getters. I am shocked being not Simon Bass in any other media.
Yeah, I know, right?
What the heck?
That's a little weird.
That is weird. Like, what the heck? Like, you promote this guy since the New 52 to be the first Muslim Green Lantern. And you don't use him in anything? What? Like, the one time we sound bad and Mia was in Scribblenauts.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, the Scribblenauts game, you put words and you have to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You put sound bad, you get sound best.
Mm-hmm.
The doll.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You would think, because of how big this comic book series was, and the movie was actually pretty good, that they would do more with this guy. He's on the Justice League.
Yeah.
2-minute warning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2 minutes. Oh, yeah. And that's why I left it in the show. Yeah, I bought Green Lantern. Like I said, I agree. It's not bad need to be adopted. And you're like, come on, like, we're getting my a Superboy adopted in a movie. I'm very happy with that movie. I'm seeing New York Comic Con. Woo! Like,
oh, sweet! I figured of all the people, you would be seeing it on New York Comic Con.
Yep.
Let me know if it's good.
I'm seeing it right this year. Can't wait to watch it. And that's the question, the Q&A. Ooh, that's gonna be cool. Give me going out. Be amazing.
Let me know if it's good. I'll watch it.
Will do. Like that is my TV movie coming this year.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, like I said in the show, I got doing a lot of time out there on my side. I just Green Lantern, HBO Max or Snyder, please, love of God, write someone who had the property at the do Green Justice. We need a good Green Lantern at the end. What am I saying? Do the Green Anime series. Bring back the Green Anime series. Bring that show back.
Yes,
Boom.
please do. Because that show.
How would you bring back the anime series?
I would actually, in other words, what stories I would use? I would bring Jessica Cruz immediately.
Well, yes, yeah, but how would you bring it back? If Zato lets you do it.
I mean, if the live action show is popular, then I guarantee you we'll see more Green Lantern stuff. That's why we haven't seen a lot of Green Lantern stuff in recent years, because of that movie. Yeah,
which is a shame. Even though we have Green Lantern anime movie. Oh yeah, I want to add about the Green Lantern anime movie. I know this kind of spoiler if you're not seeing it. Sorry, but the Hal Jordan stuff confused me.
They're adapting Emerald Twilight. That's what that is.
Yeah, I know, but the way that just what you did a big ass story and you movie and you lost it. You should say how that been the sequel.
And by the way, I'm going to give you just one more thing because I want to ask just one question. Nick, stop the beeping. What core would the Super Sons be in?
A core? That got tough.
I had to ask this.
Oh, the color I would go, I think, kind of like with blue with hope.
Yeah.
But for John, I would blue, but for Damien, yeah,
Red?
he's gonna go red.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say he's an angry dude. So
Yeah. So
those are the exact I would do. Yeah. For John, I would either do green or blue, and then for
blue.
and then for Damien, it's definitely gonna be red. You're not giving him an indigo ring.
Well, thanks for coming on, Tevya.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one, brother.
Yeah, see ya.
And Lawrence Snyder Gun says, I want to see a Green Lantern and Flash team up. That would be dope. So before we log off, I'm sorry, go ahead, Nick.
What do we call it? Flashlight?
The flashlight paradox. So on that note, Nick and I just want to acknowledge what happened 21 years ago. Today, as a matter of fact, was September 11th and everything. And I guess we'll just start. Nick, where were you on that day?
Ironically enough, I was in American history, 8th grade American history.
Oh, really?
I still remember we were doing our lesson, and the art teacher kind of ran in. She whispered into the teacher's ear, and he said, "This just in, planes had hit the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and the White House. Lots of loss of life," or something like that.
It wasn't the White House, I don't think.
Well, that I mean, granted, remember this was like early in the day, so and so this was second hour, so it probably just happened because like school started around 8, so this was probably around 9, maybe 10ish. So yeah, pretty early on, and then I went to my next class, which was like I think like Earth Science or something, and we just honestly just watched they turned on the news, and that's that every class I went to after that, we just watched the news. And I remember the only thing I could say all day was, oh man. Like I was in such shock. That was literally the only thing I could say. It's yeah.
Me, I was watching on TV and my parents' bedroom, and then it was kind of funny. I used to play a lot with the Rescue Hero toys. For anyone that grew up in that time period, they're basically like they're basically toys that were talking about firefighters and police. So I was playing with those and then watching the TV and honestly seeing the people jump out the buildings. So
yeah, like honestly, I just can't watch 9/11 footage today. Like you see they'll see videos of like people watching it from like different angles. It still just takes a piece of me.
Last year I saw they had this thing that compiled all of the like crowd footage and cell phone stuff of the attack and put it into one movie. You know what's a really sobering thing? I remember last year for the 20th anniversary, I watched a recording of the Howard Stern show from that day. Really? And it's crazy how it goes from like normal show, the news breaks out, because you're essentially Howard Stern. He was on during like live during the whole time. Mm-hmm. And it's like a real time thing where it's like they first happen, they make some jokes about it, then more information comes in, it just gets more serious as the day goes on, and yeah, it was definitely a really intense day for that one. And then and then talk about the 3 targets. It's speculated that the one that landed in Pennsylvania was the White House. Yeah, that was what they and we're not going to get into conspiracy theories here. Well, actually, wait. Okay, so actually what actually happened is that the one that crashed in the Pentagon was actually trying to find the White House. But the thing about it is that the White House was like hidden in like Washington, D.C., so they couldn't find it from the air. So they went to the next obvious building, and that was the Pentagon. The one that crashed in Pennsylvania was actually going to Congress. By a Daily Imperative said there were murmurs of planes crashing during our morning break after first period at school. Then a biology teacher was late to class for second period. Then we were told what happened. Tevye said, I was actually in school, as most of us were, when I heard about the Twin Towers attack. And my parents took me and my siblings and picked us up and took us home. Yep.
I actually have a little bit of an uplifting story, though.
Go ahead.
So I had an uncle who at the time, in 2001, had been recently released from prison.
Mhm.
And after the 2 towers hit, he got so affected that he hopped on his motorcycle and went from Michigan to New York.
Mhm.
And because he had experience as a welder, he actually was at ground zero breaking apart the wreckage.
Wow.
He is a hero.
Mhm.
He actually, to this day, he has steel from the World Trade Center that he cut out himself. And at one point, I somewhere around here, I have World Trade Center dust.
Wow. And going to comics, you remember Marvel did that whole 9/11 comic that was basically the heroes reacting to 9/11. You can see
Yeah,
like
the Spider-Man issue, yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, Tevye agrees with you that he's a hero. And you can even see Doctor Doom was crying.
Yeah.
Because at that point, there's a line that even Doctor Doom wouldn't cross, and those guys cross that line pretty easily.
Yeah.
But on that note, we want to end it a little more on the high note. So actually, for like to, I was thinking, since this is a Green Lantern inspired episode, and I think that Nick and I said yes, of course, and Nick and absolutely those guys rushing into those buildings, yeah. So Nick and I mentioned the last Green Lantern episode we did for Under Two Capes about how that core oath means a lot to us. So actually, we're going to end this show reciting the Green Lantern oath, and I think that's a good place to leave it for this.
Let me grab it real quick.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up to you just to make sure I can do this right. Because when you think about it, that oath is all about overcoming fear.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And by the way, those of you that may not have noticed, my arm is healed. I'm not in a sling anymore. All right. So if not, I can share my screen because I have it up.
Actually, yeah, share it so that the audience can do it with us.
Mm-hmm. All right. And yay. Thank you. Tevye noticed. Thank you.
All right. So
now,
I'm gonna do a count of 3, and when I clap, we'll all do it together. And people in the audience, please feel free. Could you like enlarge one of them, please?
All right, hang on. Let me see if I can do this. All right, and actually, there's one thing that I think we could actually do to make this a little better. Actually, hang on, real quick. Actually, let me just unshare this. There's one thing I want to do. Anyone that came on the show today, you are more than welcome to come on and say the oath with us on panel. Just for a little bit to make it a little, because we're going to end the show. That's it.
No, that would delay things too much. I just feel it's probably best we do it just the 2 of us.
All right. Next time we'll do that. All right. So let me just share, and then we'll do it. All right. Are you ready?
2, 3.
Wait, hang on. I have someone actually in the waiting room. Yeah, we're gonna we're not gonna do that right now. It's not. It's right. It would kind of delay. So all right. So see. So let me share a screen again. All right. It should be zoomed in and everything. So all right. 3, 2, 1. In brightest
day.
In blackest night. All right. You know what? Restart. All right. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
In
brightest day. In blackest night. No evil. No, hang on. Here we go. No evil shall escape my
sight.
Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
We should practice that more.
All right, do you want to do it one more time?
No, it's all good.
All right, and by the way, our good and yeah, we got people doing it with us. There you go. You are all my Lantern Corps. And by the way, here's a little challenge for you guys. Let's say we were a Lantern Corps. I want one of you to, Yes, and thank you, Tavia. I want one of you, anyone watching or anyone watching this in the replay, write a lantern oath if the Comics League was a lantern, and DM it to me on Twitter, and I'll show it the next live stream, and it may become the official. It may become the official oath of the Comics League.
Will that make us silver lanterns?
And what color would we be?
I say silver.
We could do silver. That's fine. It's just, yeah, okay. So for right now, silver is the thing to beat. If you guys have your own idea, so what we're gonna do is that write your oath and then write what color do you think the Comics League would be.
Also, our emotion is resilience.
Good. Yeah. So it has to be resilience. There you go, because that's pretty much what we do.
We are the silver lanterns. We do not give up.
It's the emotional spectrum, Tavia. That's not a color. It has to be one color. It can't be like all the colors.
We're not that fabulous.
And by the way, I just want to say one thing before we log off. When we talk about the emotional spectrum, we do not talk about the ultraviolet or the gold because those are stupid. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so on that note, Nick, it was a pleasure. And I'm glad because I was a little concerned because we're doing kind of the same topic as our Under Two Capes episode. So I was kind of like, can we do this and make it fun? And actually it was fun because we talked about other stuff other than Green Lantern. Next week for Snyder's Saturdays, and next week it should be a Saturday, we're going to be talking about the movie Sucker Punch. And then the week after, we're going to do a Snyder movie trivia night. Well, actually, what we're going to do is that next week is going to be hopefully 2 streams. One is going to be the Sucker Punch, and then the trivia stream.
Hey, I have an idea.
What?
What if we make it a full-on game show, to where me and you are the hosts. Like, we trade off like moderating and giving questions.
Yeah.
And the guests are the one answering the questions because people have to answer one at a time. And we actually put a prize up for it. Person who wins gets a prize, and basically the audience members will have them on the stream, and basically we'll have some way for them to like buzz in or whatever. We'll kind of figure that out in the meantime. I'm just putting the idea out there.
Well, we'll talk about that idea because that's actually a good idea. In other words, you can say the audience are the you can have like a select few people actually on the panel, and then have them answer questions.
So right now it's a maybe.
It's a maybe. Right now, it's not guaranteed.
So yeah, more details to follow, but it's just an idea I had.
Yeah, that's a good idea on how to do it too. So we'll talk about that. I know but there is going to be a trivia game next week. So that much is happening, and then and it'll cover all the Snyder movies that we have talked about previously. And then the next movie stream, which will be the same weekend. I'm deciding which days I want to do it. Will be Sucker Punch. And by the way, real quick, Dave the Impaler, Sucker Punch is underrated. The only Snyder film I don't really like is Army of the Dead. The Conan the Barbarian zombie leader was cool though. Army of the Dead was actually underrated. I'm convinced it's underrated. On that note, hope you guys had fun. I certainly enjoyed myself, and we will see you in the next stream. So stay heroic, everyone, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.